that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. And I don't know if we've got a whole hour's worth of stuff. We'll have open Q&A afterwards, so maybe we'll fill it up. But what I want to do is, um, as I was telling Daniel, if you're just now joining us, I did not sit on the couch and watch Tiger King this summer. Nobody here at H&H did. We were all actively working on stuff, still investing in software development and new feature sets. And we actually had to do some rapid rollout this past spring for some new features that we didn't even think of, but had to figure out those problems on the fly. Is how can we help studios that have photographed and sold, but now don't have a way to deliver portraits? So we had to solve that problem. We also had to solve a similar problem of, I photographed, but I haven't even got to sell yet. I've got, a box of fantastically looking proof plan flyers, but I have no way of delivering those fast and efficiently. So we had to solve up some other problems of how to send out some email and text marketing this spring and this summer. And it was a learning curve. It was a learning curve, but I would say in general, the experience was good. And we definitely saw a need for folks in that area. Good background change, Daniel. Good job. So what we're finding is studios like yourself that are getting ready for this fall are having to work through a bunch of different problems and trying to make adjustments to establish or newly established policies and procedures for how to photograph, how to shoot, how to sell, and how to approach these schools and leagues. And so here at H&H, we think we can help with that. I mean, and let's just be honest, this fall, we just want to be able to keep our doors open. We want to be able to sell. We want to be able to take great quality portraits, take care of our customers, and at the very least, stay where we are and hopefully, have some growth this fall. I mean, that would be fantastic, right? No head nods. That's not what we want to do. Okay, that is what we're going to do. Okay, good. I was worried I was in the wrong Zoom meeting for a second there. Okay. So with that, a lot of folks are looking at, how can we make some adjustments? How can we go to a contactless or a lesser touch type of photo day and sales approach? And one of the first things that comes up with that is the sales flyer. The first thing that comes up is, should I print a sales flyer? The dates keep changing, so I can't even print my backs right now. Are the schools going to let me hand out a flyer? Should I just go to all online? And I'm here to tell you that I think dropping the flyer is a big mistake. And I'm not saying that as a lab. I'm saying that as before COVID, this was a big topic in the industry, was dropping your sales flyer and going to an online only service. And as we talked to studios that did make that transition, either tested or just all in, made that jump from flyer only to online only, saw a drop in sales of 30+% total sales. And that wasn't everybody, folks did have fluctuating experiences, but when we averaged it all together, it was about a 30% drop in total sales from transitioning that over. And I think, and I'm not saying that online marketing is bad. I think it's a great thing. But I think what happened was studios failed to realize that the sales flyer does more than just hold cash and checks, right? It's something that markets your online service or markets your products and services. It's your first impression. It's your reminder to buy. It's your call to action. It's your first. It's usually your first impression you make with a lot of your customers on the quality of service that you provide. And so folks that made that jump, I don't think had solutions for those problems that the flyer was solving. And so what I'm proposing is to keep the flyer, but at the same time, I think for hhimagehost users that we can definitely step up our game on how we're marketing online via email and through text SMS. And so I'm really excited to announce, because I just got out of a meeting this morning on this, is next week we're going to be releasing a brand new feature to help solve that problem. And so what I want to do today is I want to give you guys a sneak peek at what that's going to look like so that you can start getting ready to maximize this new feature set. So let me just first back up before we get into showing you how it works. Let me show you that. But first, let's just talk about terminology, because I don't know about you, but prior to, this project, I was not all up on the marketing lingo, if I can just say it that way. I was not a great marketer. One of the things that we self-criticize here at H&H is we're not the best communicators. We've got some really cool stuff, really efficient products and solutions, but we're not always the best at talking about them. And so I had to go through a crash course in marketing and marketing funnels. And so before we get into the features of this new service, we need to talk about on a high level, what is marketing and what is a marketing funnel, and some of these other glossary of terms before we get into this, so that we're all on the same page. So I'm going to flip over and share my screen real quick, and we're going to get into this. So sit tight with me for just a second. Share screen, and we're going to this one right here. All right. Can everybody see my screen right now? This lovely little triangle that's up on its head. Can I get a head nod from somebody? Okay. All right. Excellent. So what you're seeing here is my beautiful artwork on what is this new hhimagehost marketing funnel. So it's one thing just to send out blasts of emails and blasts of texts. You can get a service for pennies to do that on your own today. And we don't want to recreate that wheel. That's already been done. That's already been solved. If that's what you're looking for, there's plenty of great and affordable services out there. We wanted to take this to the next level and say, we want to be able to create a marketing funnel that will send messages and adjust the messages based off where that customer is in their customer journey, in their life cycle. And the most traditional way to explain this in the marketing world is with a marketing funnel. So what you're seeing here is our marketing funnel is going to have three phases: a prospect, lead, and buyer. And these three terms are super critically important to understand. Otherwise, none of this is going to make sense. So think of a buyer. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. That's somebody that's putting cash in your hand or putting a deposit in your bank account. That's your buyers, right? That's what keeps our doors open. Step above that is a lead. So this is someone that's engaged with us, that said, I may want to buy in certain ways, but just hasn't pulled that trigger. There's something holding them back. There's something that's giving them pause, and it could be legitimate or not, but there's something in the way of getting them to commit to make that purchase. But and so at HH with ImageHost, we've been able to serve those two levels already. Been able to send out marketing emails for leads and buyers. And to be honest, it hasn't been as well as I think it could have been. And that's why we're introducing this new feature set. But what's new, what we have not been able to do before online, we've only been able to do, with a flyer, is market to our prospects. So prospects are the folks that have the ability to buy, that it could be a potential buyer, but just haven't engaged with us at all. The easiest way to think of this is these are the folks that you would normally hand a flyer out to. So any parent of a child that you're going to be photographing on an upcoming event day, at the very beginning, they start off as a prospect. But then as they engage with you or not, will determine if they become a lead or a buyer, if they just remain a prospect. So again, prospect, lead, and buyer, super, super important to make sure you understand those. So you guys tracking with me so far? Those of you guys that are here with me? Head nods. I love it. We're getting there. Okay. So what we wanted to do is we want to be able to create a system that says, as folks log in or as folks make a purchase, we want to be able to migrate them to these different phases so that we can send messages that are appropriate to where they are. We don't want to tell folks that that have not made a purchase with us, thanks for buying, here comes picture day, don't forget these sort of things. But at the same time, we don't want to tell folks that have not made a purchase, or sorry, that have made a purchase, to bug them to continue to buy again. One of the slippery slopes in digital marketing is spamming, right? We don't want to send out so many email messages that we destroy our potential buying clients. And so we want to be smart in how we do that. We want to be effective in how we do that. And I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but just know that that is, it's important. It's not just what you're saying, but how often are you saying it? There's some science behind how many impressions that you want to create with your customers. So how this system looks is on a very high level. Um, Whenever you create an event on hhimagehost, you can add in any prospects, any emails and phone numbers that you've collected, either from previous seasons working with that school, or with the school providing you with that information outright. You can put that into the system, and you can go ahead and start marketing them just as you would have handed out a flyer. And in my situation, I'm recommending you do both, right? You market to them online and you hand out a flyer. But as that campaign, as that schedule of emails and text broadcasts go out, folks are going to engage with it differently. They're going to either ignore the email or text message. They're going to open it, kind of skim through it, and then delete it. They may even click on a link and get to that page. But ultimately, what we're trying to do with those prospects is we're trying to get them to log in to your hhimagehost event. When they do that, you can see with my logic with this little decision tree here that once they log in, now they've transitioned from a prospect to a lead. This is someone saying, I think I may want to buy pictures. I think I trust you guys enough to take a quality portrait that I want to pay you $25, $35 for. And so now we want to change how we're marketing to them to start eliminating what are those barriers to purchase, right? We want to change those messages. So not just awareness of who I am, you know who I am now. Now we need to talk about why you need to purchase, and we need to craft those messages specifically for them in that phase. And so we have a separate campaign that you're going to be able to run for those folks that are leads only. And then as we're interacting again, if they're opening emails and clicking on them and logging in or ignoring, we're going to have different responses. But ultimately, the goal of a lead is to get them to buy, right? So the goal of a prospect is to get them to engage, to log in. The goal of a lead is to get them to purchase. And then once we have them as a buyer, now it gets a little more ambiguous, if I'm going to be honest, on what is the purpose of a buyer campaign. I would submit that there's going to be two purposes. First one is to create a great buyer experience. So there's those questions you get of, I made a purchase, now what? Of, how many calls do you get on when is picture day, and folks asking for information about picture day, that it would be nice to just be able to mass communicate specifically to the buyers. One of the things that I actually found out that I love that came out from the COVID response, and that tastes bad just saying that. What do I love about the COVID response? That doesn't sound right. But one of the things that I saw that I really respected is, as you are going into the doctor, as you're going into an appointment, there's kind of this, I've been there before, but what should I expect now? Kind of experience, this thought that pops into your head, and maybe it's just me, but what I've seen is some businesses do a fantastic job of, for folks that have an appointment coming up, folks that have said, yeah, I'm a buyer, I'm going to be doing business with you, or I have done business with you and I need to come in and engage with you, is there's been some businesses that have engaged on a higher level that a day or two before they're supposed to come in, a day or two before the event, they are sending out information, sending out a short 1-minute video, sending out some bullet points of what to expect on picture day, what to expect when you come in for your eye doctor appointment or your dentist appointment or your nail appointment, those sort of things. And what they're doing is that they're putting folks at ease. They're answering those common questions, and they're allowing them to have a clear understanding of what to expect, to have that familiarity. I think one of the biggest things that 2020 has robbed us from is familiarity. Everything is new, it feels like, and everything seems different. And we're talking about what is the new normal. And so as our brains are trying to process that, wouldn't it be great that we can just solve that problem on a mass scale for your buyer specifically, and be able to put them at ease and be able to create good customers and loyal clients that can trust you and know what to expect and have a familiarity with you when they show up on picture day. But then that's the first goal. The second goal, I think, is just as important, and that's to maximize sales, right? one of the great things about prepay sales is the participation rates are highest when you prepay. Well, I would say they're the highest when you're doing in-person sales, but with school photography, prepay sales gets your highest participation. And so now what we want to try to solve is, now that we have them participating, we want to maximize each sale individually. So we want a high participation and a high average, because when you multiply those together, that gets the highest bank account deposit, right? So how can we take those that have participated and try and change that $25 average to a $35 average? You know, how can we increase those orders an extra $5, $10, $15? So there's two goals with the buyer campaign: great buyer experience and maximize sales. And what's great about this system is it's going to be able to solve both of those problems at the same time. So I've done enough, I think, graphics and waving my hands and pointing some things out that I think I'm ready for you guys to come in and see. But before I showed you guys, I just wanted you guys to understand overall, where are we trying to go with this? What problems are we trying to solve? And now I want to show you how we actually solve those problems and what you can expect to see when you log into hhimagehost if you already have an account, or if you don't have an account, when you sign up for one, what you should expect to see. So let me flip over to that screen real quick. All right. So can everyone see my my poor sales of my hhimagehost account? Nobody loves me. No heads. All right. Thanks for the response there. Let's get that fixed. Stop share. And now we're going to share again. There we go. How about that? Is that better? All right. Thumbs up. I like it. So what you're seeing here is my login screen on my hhimagehost account. So this is my test account. This is what I use whenever we're looking at new features, or whenever somebody calls and says, how does this work? This is my account that I play with. So unfortunately, nobody loves me and nobody's giving me any money on my hhimagehost account, but that's okay. What I want to point out to here is this section on the left-hand side, this marketing metrics table. Can everybody see that okay? Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. What you're seeing here is, this is a snapshot of how well is my marketing working. Because again, it's one thing to send out broadcasts, to send out emails and texts and hope that it's being effective. But one of the things that we really preach here is, what gets monitored gets improved. And so what you're going to see here is, you're going to see how well is my marketing working. And so that marketing funnel, you can kind of overlay from left to right what you're seeing here. So when I say sends, is how many broadcasts, how many emails and text messages have we sent out over the last 4 weeks? So in this example, I've sent out, just under 25,000 emails and texts. And okay, cool, but how are folks engaging with that? And so you can see opens of how many people have actually opened those messages, how many have clicked on a link from within those messages, then how many of those that have clicked on the link go in to actually log into the event. And then from there, how many that log in finally place an order. So you can see those numbers kind of shrinking. And what that's doing is that's showing you what that marketing funnel looks like. So we have this big wide hopper at the top that we're putting all these emails and phone numbers in. And so you're seeing how it's going through the various filters, matriculating down to that final order number of 4,328. So what you're seeing here is, I've got some really bad participation going on. And so I want to kind of look at that, of why is that not working so well for me? But then on the flip side of that problem we talked about earlier is, am I over communicating? And usually the rule of thumb is no. About the time you think you're over communicating, you're about communicating enough. But we don't just want a finger in the air approach to that. We want to be able to give you some metrics to show that number. And so you're going to be able to see how many folks have said, stop sending me messages, stop emailing me, stop texting me. And so you're going to be able to see that number floating over here. And so in this case, 1.7%, that's pretty good. Honestly, that's about average. Anything below 2%, then you're not sending out too many messages, would be my saying for that, my read on that. But that's, again, this is just gonna be a quick snapshot of your overall hhimagehost experience, just like you would normally see that when you log in. You're going to see, how are my sales doing this week? What events are about to expire? What are my best selling events right now? You can kind of see those sort of things. We also want to be able to give you some visibility on your marketing metrics. But for those of you that are marketing gurus that really want to get into the granular stuff of how well is this actually working, there's going to be a report that we're going to add that will send you an Excel report to show you for each campaign how well is it working. And so it'll have the different metrics of how many people were in that, how many times did I send out messages, and how did they engage with that. And at the end of the day, what kind of revenue did I generate from those email campaigns and those text campaigns. So we're going to have that for those folks that really want to dive into it. But we realize for a lot of folks, when you start your marketing, if you've not done email and text marketing, you're going, I know I need it, but I don't know what I should say. I don't know how often I should say it. And I don't know how I should say it. Should I be sending it as an email or a text or both? And so we've kind of taken that problem away from you. And so when we launch this, we're going to actually give you some starter campaigns to run with that you can use what we found as best practice and then tweak it if you want to, but at least give you a great starting place. So let me jump in. And so let's look at that together here. All right. So what you're going to see is when you go up to the marketing tab, can everybody see this marketing screen now? Is there a couple of spreadsheets? Good. Okay. So what you're going to see is we're overhauling the entire email marketing system that was built into this marketing tab already. Kara, good question. We'll get to that in just a second. So what you're seeing here is not only are we able to personalize the messages based off of prospect, lead, or buyer, we're also going to be able to send messages based off of this is a prepay event versus proof event versus second sale event. So really personalize how we're saying things of picture day is coming versus, the due date to submit orders is coming and picture day was great. So, or thank you for buying. Here's some great other opportunities for you to purchase from, those sort of things that you can start to see how these messages would you'd want to change those based off of if this is the first sale or second sale and how you're selling on that first sale versus a prepay sale before picture day or a proof sale where you're showing images after picture day. But for any case, what you're seeing here is we can set, I'm in the central time zone right now. So I've got it set for central time, but if you're in Eastern, Mountain, or Pacific, you can adjust that so that you're looking at times and not having to do mental translation in your head. So we've got that set, but let's jump in and let's take a look at my prospect campaign, if you will. So what I've got is I've got my 3 campaigns set here. For my prospect campaign, it's going to start 14 days before event date, before picture day, okay? And I'm going to be sending out 6 messages over those 14 days total. So when I do that, if I want to take a look at those or see when those are going to send out, I can click on that edit button. And here I can start to see, what am I referring to this campaign as, and what is the schedule that this campaign is going to run on. And so with that, you're going to see this table right here that I want you to focus in on. So you can see these are the 6 different messages or broadcasts I'm going to send out. This is kind of telling me what is in each of those messages at a snapshot, the description. Here's showing you when I'm going to be sending those out. And what's important to notice, it's not just the days, but also what is the trigger. And so this is probably a bad example. Let me jump into another one real quick. Here's another one. So you can set not just the day count, but you can count down to a specific date, and it could be different. So it could be days until picture day, or it could be days after I've logged in, or days until the event expires, or days after it's published. So you can do counting up or counting down, and you can mix and match within each individual campaign. It's not just a set count up effect, if you will. But let me jump back to that prepay prospect event. So what you're seeing here is the schedule I'm going to send things out. And then you can see here the times those things are going to be sent out. What you'll notice is, in this example, I'm sending them all out in the morning, but what you're going to notice is there's nothing that's being sent out before 9 a.m. or after 9 p.m. And that's by design. And we actually, even if you choose a time, we're going to restrict that we don't want to be sending out text messages at 11 p.m. at night to customers, because that's the only time you have to load the prospect list in. But that doesn't mean that's when you want to start sending out messages to parents, right? So we've got a twilight hours effect ruled in that from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m., emails and texts will not be sent out. Anything that was supposed to send out will wait till 9 a.m. the next day to send. Sorry, that was a side note. But Kara, to your question, how can I change this? If I don't want to send things out at 9:15 or 9:45 a.m., if I want to send some stuff out in the afternoon, how do I do that? Any kinds of changes to the schedule or what the message says are going to be found under by clicking this edit button right here. So when you do that, the first thing you're going to see is the send details. This is the schedule of when am I going to send this out. So if I want to send it out at 9:15, or if I want to send it out at 9:30, I can just jump in here and make that change, AM, PM, those sort of things. And again, I've got this running on Central, but you can run it on your local time zone. Then how many days do I need to count until or after a specific trigger? And what are those different triggers? Event date, publish, or expiration. Does that answer your question, Kara? Cool, awesome. So now that we know when we want to send the message, we want to be able to say, what is the message going to say? So for the email portion, it's pretty basic. It is we've got a subject line of what do you want the subject to say. And we're also going to have what's called keywords. This is something that's already in there, but you may not have been aware of it, that we can personalize the message to information that's specific to that event by using these keywords. Think about using in HH schools when you use field names. Same concept is I want to be able to personalize this message for that specific person based off of the event information. So if I've got Hernandez Middle School Picture Day, this could say, and Hernandez Middle School Picture Day is coming. There's going to be other triggers like event date, passwords. There's a whole list of them down here below in that description area, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So that's the subject. Then let's get into the what does the email actually say. So here is just a simple WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get editor. And so it's this is what you're going to see already preloaded in the system for you, and you can go in and change this. What you're seeing here is the studio logo marker. That's going to pull the studio logo from what you've loaded into hhimagehost and send that in that location, so that we can brand these emails for your studio. Then we've got a title line, we've got a picture that we've loaded in here. This is a static picture that would go in every single one. And then we've got some our message. You know, we have exciting news. Hernandez Middle School Picture Day is 2 weeks away on, you know, I can't do math right now, August 13th. Let's just say that's what it is. Don't miss your chance to remember your kids at this age. Click here to order today. And then this would be a giant blue click here button that would send them to the event URL to that event if they click on that. Then below you can have a, you know, let us know if you have any questions or need any help placing your order. Here's my studio name and contact info. And then what you're not seeing here, but will be tagged onto every email, is a option to unsubscribe to these emails. CAN spam law requires that you send out the ability for a one-click unsubscribe option. So what we've done is if someone clicks on that link, it's going to take them to a page that says, stop sending me messages for this specific event. Stop sending me messages from this studio forever. Or, oops, I didn't mean to click on this link, take me back. So that's going to already be baked in to all these messages. So that's the email portion. What also we want to send out is we realize that folks are not just going to engage us by email. There's going to be folks that engage with their cell phones via text messages. So we want to be able to use these messages to send out to them via text as well. And so that's what this SMS section is showing below. I can't even talk right now. SMS section is showing below. And this is just a very simple text line that you would type in that Hernandez Middle School Picture Day is coming, and then here's the link to go sign up or place an order. And so you can come in here and modify that. We've got our character count so that we have good looking messages and they're not broken up into 6 different emails that are all split up differently. We want them to be nice, simple, clean, effective text marketing. And so that's where we're running that 120 character limit on there to keep those messages cohesive and effective. So that's any changes I would make here. Then I would just click Save Changes, and it would take me back. But before I leave this page, I just want to pause here. Anybody want to, or anybody have any questions specific to this prepay event message screen? Feel free to unmute if you do.
Hey, Sean, this is
Hey, Mark.
Can the picture that you have listed there be specific to the event? You know, you've got the dancer there. Could it be a golf picture or a football picture that's specific to what you have coming up?
Yeah, so what you could do is one of these other keywords down here is if this was a proofing event, you could do the gallery preview where it would send a watermarked thumbnail image rendering of the first image for that particular child. So like again, we're not just doing prepay, we're also going to have proofing so that when you show a very small watermarked thumbnail image of the child in the email, it drives folks to engage with me more. And so we've created a way so that it will show the image, but not actually attach it to the email so that they can't just copy and paste and save and download that thing. It's just a reference link is how that works.
Okay.
But that's how I would do that for that proofing event. For prepay events, these images are going to be static. They're not going to be able to change per event. Now, what's coming next here in the next couple of weeks is we're going to be able to allow you to create a library of different campaigns. So you could have a baseball prepay campaign, and you could have a soccer prepay campaign, and you could have a high school dance prepay campaign if you wanted to. And so you can change out the graphics to be appropriate to those event types if you wanted to. So that'll be something that'll be coming out here in just a couple of weeks. Kara, what's up? Hang on, you
Sorry.
unmute yourself.
There you go. Can you hear me?
There we go. Yeah.
I'm fine with this cheerleader. We deal with sports all the time, but is it something where, because sometimes we are uploading our school logos to the events already. Mm-hmm. Is it something, I don't know, I'm not technical, because you can do our studio logo to pop it in there. Is that something where you could automatically grab those, like Gardner Edgerton Trailblazer logo that's already on the event?
Okay, so you're saying instead of putting in PEC logo here, you would want to put in the logo that's on the event landing page,
or where the cheerleader is,
or where the cheerleader is. Okay,
because he was asking about that, changing that out, and so it's not like it automatically self-fulfills there. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I like that idea.
But
that should not be hard to do. It's just a new idea for me. So let me write that down so I don't forget it. So that would be event image. All right. So yeah, what that would look like then is we would create another marker like this event date or this studio logo that you would put right here. And it would say like event image or event landing page image. I can't think of the name what it is right now, but it would be a marker right there so that we would just pull that image for that particular event instead of a static image for everyone to see. So yeah, that's something we can definitely add. Good question though. Mark, was that your question? Did I get it wrong and Kara redirected me?
Oh, you actually have, it's actually a great idea, Kara, that you have a landing page that you got a list of libraries over here that can pull that image over. So having it update the school logo, because you may have, I've got six locations right now, and I got a different logo for each one, their mascot, so to speak, that you'd want to bring in there. So that could be very helpful.
Or organization image. I like that too. Yep. Yeah, I already did get the request for an organization link, but I also like the idea of an organization image as well. Good call. Good call. All right. So let's move on here. So I've made my changes to this particular broadcast. When I save that, it'll take me back to the campaign. And so you can see here what the rest of the messages are going to look like. And we can change out the different images. These are just some preloaded images that we already have for marketing. And so you're welcome to use those. But I would encourage you to find images that are going to be specific to your brand and your style. So obviously, if you're a sports shooter, you don't want to put school pictures in there, and vice versa in that situation for this campaign. But again, the process is basically the same. You can modify and format the images to however you'd like them to look. And so you would go ahead and do this for all these broadcasts if you want to. But like I said, we're going to give these to you. So we're going to have all these different tuned messages for you to run over a 2-week period. So you can see, 14 days, 11, 8, 5, 2, 1, that we're spreading out these 6 messages over a 2-week period so that we're engaging them multiple times, but not sending them a message every single day. Or on the flip side, only sending them one message and hoping they see it. I don't know about you guys, but if I don't check my email for a day, then I get like 100, 120 different emails. And so if I'm only sending out one email that day and there's 119 others competing with it, it's going to be hard for me to point that one out and look for that one specifically. And again, I think that kind of goes back to the powerful usage of a flyer. Is you're not having 120 other flyers sitting on the counter when you get home. There's just that one flyer, and it stays on the counter, and it doesn't really go anywhere until I actually do something with it. I throw it away, or I finally fill out the form after I put the kids down to bed that night, sort of thing. So this is those preloaded messages, but like I said, we're going to change it so that you can create a library of campaigns, so you can have you can change it so that if you only want 5 or if you want to add 7, you can make those changes in those particular broadcasts and those campaigns. So that's the marketing aspect. But what we really wanted to do is we realized that y'all are busy, right? Somebody may be watching Netflix right now, and that's cool, good for you. But a lot of us are busting our humps to try and get ready for this fall. And hopefully we're going to be busy this fall that's the intention and the goal, right? So we wanted to be able to create this system so that you can set it and forget it. So just like you would create a price list here on hhimagehost, once you set it that first time, you can use and reuse it as many times as you need to, right? So for me, I've only got one on this account right here, but once you have that price list set, I want to be able to use that as many times as I'm using that flyer. Right? And so similar concept with these marketing campaigns. Once I have them set, I want to reuse them on as many different events as I want to. And so what's going to be great about that is as I create these events, I go in here and I create a Hernandez Middle School prepay event. I can say, I want to use these marketing campaigns, or I don't want to use these marketing campaigns. And I don't have to recreate them every time I create a new event. All I got to do is create the event, plug in my picture day. So we said, August 13th. This is a school shoot. I want to go ahead and publish it today, and I want it to expire on the 14th when I'm working up the jobs. So literally that's the minimum amount of work you have to do to create the event. You can come in here and create custom messaging and image branding if you want to, but in order to use the marketing, all you have to do is create this event and leave this enable marketing box checked. It's checked by default. If you don't want to use this whole system, if you're looking at this and going, I absolutely don't want this for my customers, just uncheck that box and it'll go away. But by default, we're going to have it turned on so that it runs in the background for you. So you don't have to sit there and manage it in addition to all the other details you're having to manage right now. So with that event created, if I'm getting the names and emails and phone numbers or some of each, so say I'm getting some emails or I'm getting some phone numbers or I'm getting some of both, I can load that into the system now. And if I get more later on, I can load it again later on. And how that works is you can come in here to the edit event. and you can choose that CSV of emails and phone numbers. So here's a very short one that I've got right here. You can see I've got 2 emails and a phone number. And by formatting it in those 2 columns, what I'm telling the system is this email and this phone number, they belong to the same person. So if I send out a text message for a prospect campaign and they log in with this email address, then I don't want to keep sending them texts for a prospect anymore because they're now a lead. I want to change those. And so any texts that I send out now are going to mirror the emails, and that they're both going to be a lead campaign email and text message. So 2 columns, one for email and one for text. If they line up and they are both in the same row, then that is telling the system that this is the same person. Okay. So I've got that selected, and then I can go ahead and just click on that import feature, and it's saying, hey, we found 2 people and we've imported it. And then if I would 2 weeks later turn around and get, you know, another list of 10 more people, I can come right back in here, grab that image and load in those 10 other people. The system is smart enough, it'll flag duplicates and it won't double down and resend the same emails twice to the same person. It'll say, okay, I already have that person in the system, and so I'm only going to send 1 copy and not 2 copies to those. So that was pretty basic and straightforward as far as how to load in the information. But once that's done, we want to monitor how effective that's working. And so as you're looking at if you want to look at not just how's my marketing looking across my entire account, or by a campaign, if I just want to see specifically for the Huntington High School event here, I can come in and look at this particular event, and you're going to see this new table right here. This is our event marketing details table. And so you can see for my prospect, lead, and buyer campaigns, what campaigns I'm using, when they start, how many broadcasts to go out, and how many people are in each of these campaigns and where they are. So I have 4 people right now that are buyers. I've sent them a total of 14 messages. 11 of those messages were opened. 5 of those messages were clicked on. And I did not get any of them to buy again. I didn't get any converted, if you will. And then I had 1 person unsubscribe. And they can do that with the leads and the prospects as well. Let me show you another example of another one. So you can see here, I've got this event. I have 5 people that are still prospects, 1 that's a lead, and I haven't gotten any buyers yet in this particular event. So again, nobody loves me. I'm not selling good images apparently, or my prices are too high. I don't know what's going on, but I haven't got any buyers yet. We'll figure that out later. But what's great about this is I can see specifically for this event, if I get a call from a school administrator saying, you know, how many messages are you sending out? You know, you can give them not a guess number, you can give them an exact number. But if that were to come up and the administrator says, please stop sending out messages, you can really easily come in here and turn it off. So you can stop sending out any further messages immediately. Well, something to know is once you turn it off for this event, you can't turn it back on. So we can't flip-flop back and forth. Honestly, it gets really complicated with which emails should be sent out and which ones shouldn't be sent out. So you can turn it off, but once you do, it's off for this event. You won't be able to turn it back on, just so you know. And in most cases, the only reason why you're going to be turning it off is because the administrator or the athletic director is saying, I need you to stop. But in most cases, the customers that we're talking with, the studios that we're talking with, they're actually getting encouragement from the schools to send out those messages. Basically, the conversation is looking like this. It's you, Mr. Principal, already have enough problems to figure out with, you know, when to run picture day or when to run school. You know, when should I start? Should I do a full week? Should I do a split week? Should I split up the grades and do some this or that? You know, it's getting really complicated out there. I don't want to make picture day complicated, but I know picture day is important to you for what you need for your school. So let me manage those emails. Let me manage that picture day communication. Take that off your plate. And I promise I won't be sending out any messages. I won't be selling the list to anyone else. This is going to be specifically for picture day. And let me manage that for you. And where there's been pushback in the past, this year, because again, a silver lining of COVID is as schools are more open to sharing that information so that they can just solve that problem and move on to the next problem. And just by using that exact script, we found folks to be to have that, you know, really effective, and schools agreeing to share that information. But if they don't, if they say, you know what, I appreciate that and I trust you guys, but we need to keep those messages internal. We need to be sending those out. That's great. What's great about this is you can actually just jump into this marketing campaign, pull up that first message. You can copy and paste this and say, will you send this in the message? And you can have it set so that it takes them to their event. You know, change this link from a marker, from a keyword, to actually putting in their event URL and putting in the information here for these dates and those sort of things, so that you're still in effect running a prospect campaign. You're just having the school use their system instead of you using your hhimagehost system. Any questions so far? Wow, it's already 10:50. Okay, this is going fast. I feel like I'm talking really fast. Am I doing okay? I'm excited. I hope it's coming across that way. I'm tired because I've been doing a lot of tests, but I'm also really excited because I think this in addition to the flyer, is going to really step up your participation from your schools, and from and how your customers are going to be coming into Picture Day prepared versus the onslaught of questions they're used to getting. Okay. The other thing that I want to talk about is cost, right? I hope you can understand and appreciate that this is something that was really expensive to build. And so I think it was fair with the value that providing that we would charge for this. But I know going into this fall, we're already pretty cash strapped. We're all trying to figure out how to operate on a shoestring budget. So the owners of H&H have agreed to this fall give this feature to you for free. So for this fall, we will not charge for this automated email and text marketing campaigns. And then on January 1st, we will switch to a payment system for this. And so I want to talk about that real quick. So as we're looking at this feature, you know, we're not the first ones, you know, in the photo industry to create email and text marketing. You know, there's several other e-commerce online only folks that have this similar tools. I would argue there's some differences, but they have similar tools. And so we didn't want to recreate the wheel. We wanted to look at how are they charging, and can we, you know, come alongside that and just model that approach just to make it simple for you guys to compare apples to apples. So that's actually what I did when I was looking at this feature set, is I compared hhimagehost to our friends over at Got Photo, to our, you know, friends at Image Quicks with their Blueprint program, looked at Photo Day, Capture Life, Candid Color, and looked at, you know, how are they charging and what are the different feature sets for that. And so what I found is first of all, up until next week, we're seriously lacking in these categories right here, in this campaign section right here. And so that's why you're seeing us fix that gap. You know, we're making that change, and we're doing it in a way so that it ties in with your end-to-end system, so that it doesn't take you extra time to manage lists or send out emails or craft, you know, really special messages. That we want to be able to solve that for you. But also looking at it, what we're looking at is, you know, how we compare is when they charge for these features right here, there's not a fee for that. It's actually built into the commission and subscription rates. So our approach is we're going to go from 3 to 7% to 5 to 9% commissions. And by doing that, we still feel like we are really, you know, on the lower side as far as the market goes, compared to some of these other here, you know, these other guys here on how they're charging. So, but we see that we can fund this entire project, and it's good business for us if we can put that 2% into the commission. So instead of a 3, you go to a 5 for those prepay and proof events. And instead of a 7, you go to a 9 for those second sale events. But I hope that seems fair to you guys and provides value for value. And if you want to talk with me one-on-one on that, on how that's going to look more, I'm happy to have those conversations with you. I really do think that this is something that once you see how it works this fall, and by engaging it this fall, by giving it to you for free, I'm hoping you're actually going to try it and use it. And then after seeing how much it adds to your sales, that you're going to be fine giving us an extra, $30 or $300 a year or whatever types of commissions you're running through the event. But that case, any questions that you're seeing from us right now, or any other questions for me right now? Because that was a sprint. Yeah, Mark, what's up?
So on all of the stuff for prepay events from last year, is that data still available in hhimagehost so I could go grab those, buy those events, and do this email campaign here?
Exactly. So, how can we source these? How can we source these prospect lists? Let's talk about that. One is exactly what Mark was saying. Is I can run a report from hhimagehost to say, if I did this event last year, if I shot this school last year, I know most of the folks in that event are going to be repeats. They're coming back, right? There'll be a few that didn't, but those that did are going to be in that list. And so you can download that list of emails and use that as your prospect list. Another way is if you're using HH Schools with hhimagehost and you collected information that way, in those projects from last year, you can run a subject data report and you can pull out the emails and phone numbers from that place last year. And those two approaches are great. There's nothing wrong with those. I would encourage those, but to me, that would be plan B. Plan A is ask the school for their list. Even if it's not a complete perfect list, 80% is going to be better than 0%, right? And so having the confidence, helping them understand that you're a professional and that you're not a shady business person, that you're someone that you can trust, and just genuinely asking for the list and explaining how this is going to improve picture day communication, improve service time, and going to improve customer parent experience. The principal's going to get less phone calls because of this. Then they're generally more open to sharing that information with you. But that's the first thing I would do, is I would ask for that information. Then secondly, you could go into farming those lists from a project last year or in a prepay event last year. Stephanie, what's up? So you got your little blue hand up.
Yeah, it's like the iPad usage of this and the laptop usage are just different. So didn't Jeff Edwards saying a different thing? We have trouble with schools wanting to release the personal info. Didn't he say something about having sort of an unofficial like NDA written up to present to the schools that are hesitant to give out the email addresses, saying, this is how we handle privacy and parent privacy, and it's only for our marketing. We don't sell the list, or it's only for reminders.
Yeah, I wouldn't get too technical because as you get more technical with your NDAs, then it's going to have to start going through the district and their attorneys, and it's going to get complicated, a lot more complicated than you want. But if that's something that you need to have a mutual NDA of saying, hey, I'm only using these emails for picture day for this year, then that would be something that I would have an NDA prepared if that's something you need.
Or just like a privacy policy sheet, just basically saying we don't sell these are only for this, and it's not an official document.
Yeah, what is our privacy usage policy? Be able to have something written up to share with them. I think that's a fantastic idea. But generally the folks that I talk to that say I have a problem with schools giving us that information, usually it's I have a problem asking for the information is where it first comes into.
That.
Good. That's good.
No, they're just literally like, no. Like if we want to mail something, there are certain ones that say you can bring us the postcards with the stamps on them. We will put the labels on and we will mail it. I kid you not. And I'm like, I have all their like names and stuff on the computer, but
yeah. And that and honestly, a lot of those conversations are changing this year. They're going from I want to do it. I need to do it too. I need to offload anything I can right now. So if you present yourself, again, if you're proactively communicating with your schools and present yourself as the problem solver to these problems, then our experience from what we're hearing is schools are more open to sharing that information when they hadn't in the past. And then, yeah, I think it's a good business practice to be able to reinforce this with, here's how we're going to use it. And you can see that right here. We're not selling this to Google. We're not selling this to some list, vendor sort of thing. We respect the trust that we have with you. And that's the only way we're going to get through this together is with trust. And this is how we can do that. It's huge, huge. Did you have another question?
No, I was going to say that's definitely one thing when I send stuff out to coaches, because I'm just doing sports right now, not schools or anything, but letting them know, hey, you're a coach, you're there to teach to coach and deal with your team. Let me deal with my business. Let me deal with the customers. I don't want you having to worry about anything on picture day except that your athletes are there. I don't want you to pass out pictures. I'm going to mail them home. I don't want you to pass out envelopes. I'm going to send this email to your parents so they can go and order online.
Yeah.
I'm just letting them know, hey, I'm taking as much as I can off of your plate so you can concentrate on what you need to do and let me run my business.
And can we be honest for a second? For our sports shooters out there, coaches are not our best marketing team, are they?
No.
It's like pulling teeth trying to get them to hand out the flyers. So we definitely don't want them to be managing, hey, can you send out 6 emails and 6 text broadcasts over the next 2 weeks? No, let me take that problem off your hands, coach, because I know you don't want to do it already. So just let me take care of that for you. So you can just focus on when can we practice and are we going to play this year and what signs of safety measures do we have to have in place in order to be safe and appropriate, those sort of things. Mm-hmm. You solve those problems. Let me solve these problems for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
That's one of the things that I tried to do different this year was to take a lot of that responsibility back inside, take away from coach. You just give me the time and the date and I'll take care of everything else. Mailing the packages completely, but most of them have said, hey, just come to one of my practices and you can hand them all out. Oh, okay. Yep. You're still getting your face back with the athletes as well, the coaches, as you're doing that extra work for them to kind of help build on that for the next year. So they're all been very happy that the biggest thing I've run into right now, trying to schedule all the fall, is none of the uniforms that they need to order are ready. They're all behind. So usually we would shoot in August here, late August. All the uniforms is going to be now pushed out to mid-September to late September for some of the teams to be able to get pictures. So that's some of the things I've run into here.
Yeah, and what's great about that is this is going to go live Monday. So on Monday, you're going to have access to this. Monday, was it August 4th, August 3rd? What is that? Third. I don't even know what day is today. Can we just start there?
30th.
Okay. So yeah, 4 days. In 4 days, this is going live. And so what's great about that is if you have not created the event, you're now going to have your 2-week period to be able to market to folks that are pushing back to after Labor Day. You're going to have that time to re-engage those folks. What also is great about this system is by using those keyword markers for event date is when, let's just say it, when some of your picture dates change because of X number of reasons, all you have to do is go back into the event, update the event date and the expiration date, and the systems will automatically change the messages on that schedule and what they're saying to those new dates. So that's automatically going to happen for you guys. You don't have to go back and reset your campaigns or anything like that.
So I got a question for you, Sean.
Yeah.
So with those campaigns, you're saying you've got like a 14, a 7, a 5, a 3, a 1 day prior to. Mm-hmm. If we end up setting a date, because a lot of the sports that I deal with the schools is they'll pick a team like 5 days before they have their first game, and then they want pictures like 3 days after. If we set up that campaign and it's got like a 14, a 7, is it just going to pick the one that's closest to that event date and start from there? It's not going to start at like the 14 day and they're going to get like 5 emails all at once, are they?
Correct. That's a great question. So yeah, if you've got some latecomers because they don't get added to the team until 5 days before or something like that, then whenever they get loaded into the system, they're not going to get 4 catch-up emails and text messages. We don't want to spam them like that, do we?
Mm-hmm.
So what they'll do is they'll fall in line with what is the next message being sent out, so that the messages are appropriate to when picture day actually is. And we're not saying picture day is 2 weeks away when it's actually 5 days away. We don't want to communicate that, right? So great question. Great point. So yeah, we're not going to play catch up and send 5, 6 different messages. But to that point, if that's something that's consistent, if you're usually not getting a picture day until a week ahead of time, then you may want to change your approach. You may say, okay, instead of sending 6 emails over 2 weeks, I want to send 4 emails over 6 days, something like that, or 3 emails over 6 days. You can change that. And so what you're seeing is we've got those loaded by default. And then very, very soon in August, you're going to be able to create additional prospect campaigns and additional lead campaigns so that you can have a 14-day and a 6-day. You can have a sports one, and you can have a school one. You can have an elementary one. You can have a dance studio one. So you can have a complete library. And just like the price list, once you build it, it stays there, and you don't have to use that, and you don't have to recreate those.
And you want to learn. I got to be honest with you. I mean, that was really the one thing that I liked about Got Photo that was missing in the image host, was the ability to have these email campaigns. But with this, because you guys have to create your own collection, they don't. This ties directly into your lab, obviously, with the post sales and stuff like that. This definitely makes using image host my number one choice now for, instead of splitting it. This is an awesome thing that you guys put together with this. I know we've been talking about it for a while, but this is really, really good.
Good. That's really encouraging to hear. Because yeah, I love the guys over at Got Photo. I love Benedict. I love Michael. Those are fantastic guys. I love their service. But I think we're going to have so much going on this fall that we need to be able to have email and text marketing, but stay focused on the day-to-day stuff and not have to manage transferring lists here or there otherwise. Oh, one other thing I forgot to add is when we send out these messages, if you're not getting those prospects ahead of time, or if you're only getting some of those prospects ahead of time, but still sending out the flyers, like recommending or putting up posts or anything like that, as folks log in, if they're not already in that marketing campaign list for that event, if that's a new email they log in with, we're capturing that and adding them to that campaign. Same thing with the buyer experience. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I log into something, if I'm not sure I'm going to buy from it and they're asking for my email, I know what's up. I know they're going to be marketing to me. So sometimes I'll put in a bogus email address, right? But obviously, if I've said, yeah, I want to buy, and I'm putting in my credit card information, we're going to have another point where we already do this, where we can capture email address. So if they go in there and they change that from the bogus email address to the real email address, and the real email address is a new one, we're going to add that in as the buyer campaign emails. So we're still in collecting phase, even in the lead and the buyer. So if you can't get prospects, don't feel like this isn't going to work for you. We're still going to have the benefit of marketing to your leads and to your buyers, even if you can't get those prospects in there. So don't feel like I'm leaving you guys out if you can't get the list from the schools. Okay. Cool. Yes, this is very cool. At least I hope it is, because I've put a lot of work into it because I want to help you guys out. The only way we're going to get through this fall is together. And so anything we can do to help, we want to do that. And that's, again, why we're offering this for free this fall, because we so much believe in the power that this can help you in addition to the flyer, that we can market physically and electronically, that we think it's just going to help us all increase our sales this fall and help us not just survive, but thrive this fall. And then once we've proven that out to you guys, we've proven the validity of this, then we'll turn it on in January going forward, now that we all agree that there's value for value in the system. So we're over time already. Dang it, that was fast. Any other questions that you guys have? All right, I'll let you guys reserve the right to send out other questions to me. feel free to email me at seanc@hhicolorlab.com. That's SHAWN, the letter C, which is my last initial, .com, or at hhicolorlab.com. Try that again. Or give us a call at the 800 number. I'm happy to talk. Any late night questions that come up, email me. I'm happy to respond to those. I'm sure once you guys get in the system, you're going to have some questions. That's to be expected. Give us a call. We're going to be here and we're going to be able to walk you through the entire system. But otherwise, I'll stick around for a few minutes, but that's all I've got. Thank you guys for stopping by. I hope you like what you see and that I did not waste your time today. And looking forward to seeing you all thrive this fall. Have a good one, guys.
Awesome.
The quick question I have is, are you guys going to be posting any tutorials on how to, do this and all that? So I can show my staff, how to things. Okay.
Yes. So yes, we're doing the tutorials, and also I recorded this video, so I'm going to trim out to just how it works and post that as well, so they can see that system also. But yeah. Okay. No, again, it goes back to one of the things. What is HH not good at? And that's teaching you how to use our systems. We're great at doing that one-on-one, but we realize that you want to look at how to do this thing at 11 o'clock at night and not 8 to 5. And so we'll definitely be adding some tutorials and some videos showing how these different features work. Good question, Tim. All right. Well, guys, that's all I got for now. Otherwise, keep talking to your schools, keep engaging with them. Tell them what you're getting ready for, how you're going to be photographing picture day, showing them the measures that you're taking, and that they can trust you guys to solve problems that they haven't even thought of yet. So if you have questions with that or need help with some ideas with that, please give us a call. Keep checking your emails. We're sending out some information there. But other than that, have a good one, and let's have a good fall together, guys.